Now that's a pretty big mountain. Hey everyone, Jason here with the JDstucks YouTube channel, and welcome to Layout Update 14 of Jason's O-Gauge Trains. It may be summer, but I've been working extremely hard here in the basement. I've completed the basic structure and rough outline of the first mountain, including the tunnel portals, tunnel liners, and bridge pier supports. This mountain has completely transformed the look of the layout and the basement in general. Just look at how big this mountain is. I can't even see the rest of the layout when I'm standing over here. And it's so tall, I can stand straight up when standing inside of it. Building this mountain was a lot of work, but a ton of fun. There's still much more to be done before it's completed, but I'm having so much fun running my trains around and through the structure right now, I had to make a layout update and share the excitement with you all. So in today's layout update, I'm going to give you an up-close look at the new mountain and briefly cover the techniques used to build it. Plus, there are many other additions to share with you as well, including new locomotives, new freight cars, and new buildings and accessories, not to mention a brief recap of the third annual Trainapalooza, which is a massive gathering of the Detroit 3 railers as well as some of your favorite O-Gauge YouTubers. There's a lot of fun packed into this episode, so sit back and relax as we look at everything that's new right now on Jason's O-Gauge Trains. First, a big thanks to all of my new subscribers. We just hit 15,000 subs, and that's just awesome. Even one of my fans, Bob, sent me this little plaque to celebrate the occasion. How fun is that? Thanks so much, Bob. I'll be doing a live stream and giveaway in the near future to celebrate this milestone, and if you don't currently subscribe, please consider doing so. I'd greatly appreciate the support. Okay, let's get to it. Let's take a look at all of the progress that's been made over on this side of the layout. In these pictures, you can see what the layout looked like before I even built the mountain, and you can see that I had to cut access holes in anticipation of building the mountain because I needed to be able to get inside the mountain for access to the track and the trains in case they derailed. And now in these photos, you can see what a dramatic change took place once the mountain was actually built. It feels like a completely new layout. Let's do a walk around of the mountain so you can get an idea of what's been completed. So the mountain obviously goes right up to the backdrop towards the back wall of the layout. I have two tunnel portals over there, then it continues towards the front of the layout, another tunnel portal, the bridge pier. This is actually where I began all of the construction of the mountain. Then it wraps around where these three tracks are. The one in the middle is the track that elevates from the main level to the upper level. And as we wrap around here, we get to the three tunnel portals. And this is where we rejoin the backdrop in the wall. And you can see that the mountain finally covers up the seam of the backdrop. You can still tell right here where they don't perfectly match. That will eventually be covered with a whole bunch of trees. I might elevate the mountain a little bit more in that area. But this is really cool because, look, when I look back towards the other side of the layout, I can't even see it. So I can just sit here and the trains pass by, disappear for a minute or two. It's a lot of fun. I really have to raise the camera up really high so that you can see the other side of the train room. So how did I get the mountain to this stage? There's only 5 simple ingredients: cardboard, foam, wood, hot glue, and construction paper. I started right here at the bridge pier and worked my way to the right with a cardboard strip structure giving some basic support. Then I'd cut small shapes of construction paper from Home Depot, crumple into a ball, and then uncrumple to get a rocky looking texture, and I'd hot glue it in place. So I slowly worked my way around the lower portion until I was all the way to the back wall. Next was completing this section of 3 tunnel portals. This was the most difficult section, 3 tunnels at 3 different elevations. I secured my portals in place first and built the mountain around them. You can see here how I built wood supports first, then connected everything with cardboard strips and eventually covered in crumpled construction paper. At the same time I was building my tunnel liners, I used 1/2-inch foamular board, wrapped the inside with crumpled construction paper, and spray painted with textured gray spray paint. This isn't the most advanced method, but it gets the job done and I'm happy with the result. Also, as I was doing this, I was constantly running my big boy and large freight cars around to ensure there was clearance going through the portals and into the mountain. The last thing I want is a locomotive tearing up the mountain because I didn't plan accordingly. With my tunnel liners in place, I was off to the races to complete the rest of the mountain, working from back to front. You can see how the mountain shape began to cover up the seam to my backdrop, something I was really glad to finally have covered. I continued to attach wood supports and platforms. I made them all different heights and lengths, which I think makes mountains more realistic. If everything was the same height, your mountain will start to look more like a volcano. Once I had the JDstucks Stonehenge complete, I went back to filling the gaps with cardboard strips. For the larger gaps, I started using sheets of foam board, and before I knew it, voila! I had a mountain. All that was left was to install my custom-built bridge piers. My friend Dave Lambert 3D printed these especially for my layout to be used with the Atlas Pratt truss bridges. I painted the supports a concrete gray, added the bridge shoes to the bridge itself, and here's the result. There's still some tweaking to be done, and I also need to paint the bridges themselves, but I love the way this is looking. I'm really glad Dave made these bridge piers for me. They're looking awesome. Now, looking at the mountain from the outside is cool, but you know what's really fun? Going under the layout and popping up underneath. I'm standing inside the mountain, and look, I have access to all of the track, so I can rescue derailed trains and easily clean the track. Not to mention, I think I have a new favorite hiding spot. Now, the mountain is not done. Next, I'll cover all of the paper in plaster cloth. I'll add rock molds, paint everything, then add ground cover and trees. But this is a really big step in getting all of that completed. I'm extremely happy with it. Tell me what you guys think. All right, that's enough of the mountain for now. Let's move on and look at all of the new locomotives that have been added. Starting with this MTH Premier Line Conrail SD80 Mac. This is MTH item number 20-20432-1 and is equipped with ProtoSound 3.0. I've been hunting for Conrail lately, and this is one model I really wanted to have. I found it on eBay and was fortunate to win the auction. A great addition to the layout. Now, it wouldn't be a JDstucks video without some new Norfolk Southern equipment being added, right? So, here we go. This is an MTH Premier Line Norfolk Southern SD40-2 equipped with ProtoSound 2.0. It's MTH item number 20-20154-1, and it's actually a pretty special model because MTH only made Norfolk Southern SD40-2s once. It's a very hard model to find, and I was lucky to find it for sale at Trains.com. Trains.com carries new and used trains from all scales and all manufacturers, offering a variety of products, locomotives, rolling stock, accessories, and electronics. And if you shop at Trains.com using my affiliate link in the description of this video, or simply use promo code JDstucks at checkout, not only will you be supporting this channel, but you will receive $10 off of your order of $50 or more. That's promo code JDstucks for $10 off of your next online order of $50 or more at Trains.com. Who knows, maybe you'll find your next rare holy grail locomotive like I did here. So check out Trains.com. That's Trains with a Z. Moving on to something quite unique and different. We have this MTH Rail King Lake State Railway MP15 switcher, MTH item number 30-20994-1. This was a custom run done by Easy Catch Train Shop, but I actually bought it off of my friend Charlie. Charlie is thinning out his modern fleet, and he knew that I loved the color scheme on this locomotive, so when he offered to sell it to me, I couldn't resist. Thanks again, Charlie. It's such a sharp-looking paint scheme, and it is actually my first Michigan-exclusive railroad on my layout. A great addition to the fleet. Next, we have another rare item. This is an MTH Premier Line Burlington Northern SD70 Mac equipped with ProtoSound 3.0 and is MTH item number 20-20449-1. MTH offered this engine in 3 road numbers back in 2015, and I already had 2 of them, but I really wanted the third, which is number 9604. I was fortunate to have my friend Brian sell me his when he came to visit for Train-a-Palooza, so a big thanks to Brian for completing the trifecta, and now I have a really impressive Burlington Northern coal train. Moving on to freight cars, we'll start with these beauties. These are 2 brand new Atlas O Masterline Multi-Max auto racks. I got 1 Norfolk Southern and 1 Union Pacific. I cannot say enough good things about these cars. These are the coolest pieces of modern rolling stock I've added to the collection in recent years. No one does it better than Atlas. The detail is incredible. The ride height is perfect. It's got a great weight to it. It's heavy. Sure, the doors don't open like advertised in the catalog, but I really don't mind at all. These things are amazing. Atlas knocked it out of the park, and if you haven't picked up any yet, I highly recommend you do ASAP before they're all gone. Great job, Atlas. Next is this Reading and Northern tank car that was gifted to me by Tony from the Rambles YouTube channel. Tony gave this to me as a thank you gift for being invited to Train-a-Palooza. Tony, this was very kind to you. You certainly didn't need to go out of your way to do this, but I thank you, and thanks for coming to Train-a-Palooza this year. I'll see you at York, buddy. Next is this blue Conrail caboose made by Lionel that was given to me by my friend Andy from the Detroit 3-Railers. This is a beautiful caboose that even has a smoke unit, and it's going to look great behind my Conrail freight trains. Thank you so much, Andy. And finally, I have these two MTH Premier Line Lake State boxcars that my friend Charlie also sold me. To my knowledge, these are the only Lake State Railway freight cars ever made in O-gauge. A big thanks to my friend Charlie for selling them to me. They're going to look great behind my new Lake State Railway switcher. And a couple other items that were added, and I almost forgot to mention them because they were over here on the messy part of the layout. One is this Arby's restaurant, which is made by Menards. I bought this from my buddy Don, who's a Detroit 3-Railer member. I intend to turn this Arby's into a Chick-fil-A. And I also got this MTH Rail King Ohio State football billboard. I'm a graduate of Ohio State. I was in the marching band. Huge Buckeye fan, so I will find a really cool place for this on the layout. Pick this up from trains.com. And I also added this Crete trailer made by Bowser that my friend Brian sold me. I love putting these trailers on my Atlas flat cars. They're true 1/48 scale and look really impressive on an intermodal train. And I almost completely forgot to address the changes made to the town. Before, the town just paralleled the tracks perfectly. Now I've pushed them back at an angle. I put down the computer paper to simulate where the road will go, which will continue under the bridge and enter a tunnel portal to go into the mountain and head to a new imaginary town. I also moved the station over to this area. I put the Taco Bell and the Starbucks in place. This is all temporary. I'm playing around with it right now. That road will eventually cross the 3 tracks up front here. Let me know what you think. I'm still experimenting with how this area is going to come together, but I think having the road and the town angled a little bit adds a little bit of uniqueness to the layout. Makes it a little different than how the old layout was, which I think is a good thing. And finally, a quick recap of Train-a-Palooza 2023. What is Train-a-Palooza? It's an event that I started 3 years ago that brings the Detroit 3-Railers together with a bunch of my O-Gauge YouTube buddies. RBP Trains, Chris's Trains and Things, RJ's Trains, Country Bunkers Trains, Norm's Trains, Ozark Midland and Southern Railway, Matty C, Trainman Dan, Sam's Trains, and so many others were all in attendance this year. Plus, Peachy's Trains and her husband attended for the first time as well, and they gave me this Peachy's Trains t-shirt. Thank you so much, guys. Really glad you were able to attend the event this year. Now, I used to host the main event at my house on Saturday, but I decided this year to hold a Friday night pre-meet. I still had over 30 people in attendance. The event has grown so much, though, that this year, on Saturday, Greg and Daniel Browning offered to host at their house, which is much larger than mine. They said they had over 70 people in attendance. That's amazing. Greg and Daniel, you hosted an awesome Train-a-Palooza. Everyone is still talking about it, and I don't know how we're going to top it next year. So what's next for the layout? Well, I'm still doing some fine-tuning of the mountain, redoing and perfecting a few areas, still fine-tuning the bridge piers and the bridge shoes as well. I'm going to start construction on the second mountain, which will be towards the back of the layout and against the wall. I've already got tunnel portals temporarily in place. These were laser printed by my friend Charlie. I think they're going to look really good. And I've got the access hole for that mountain cut out as well. So that should give you an idea of the footprint the second mountain is going to cover. I also need to make progress on the peninsula. I need to redo the wiring over there, secure the track, and get the roundhouse built. However, I am pleased to report that the roundhouse construction has begun. I also want to add my fascia to the edge of the layout. That will really clean up the look of the layout and give it a real professional finish. Well, that's going to do it for this layout update. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as mentioned, I'll be doing a live stream and giveaway soon to celebrate hitting 15,000 subscribers, so keep an eye out for that announcement. As always, I'll leave you with footage of the trains running. Feel free to ask questions in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.